Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and I'm very excited to be here with you this evening, working with Aisha and our presentation about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I am going to focus on real estate. That is my area of expertise. My name is Andrea Morgan. I am a realtor. Those initials behind my name, ABR, I'm an accredited buyer's representative, so I have pretty significant experience working with home buyers, and then also a specialist for resort and second homes. I'm licensed in Florida as well, and so that's where the majority of that work comes in. And I mentioned on this slide that math is not my forte, and that is purposeful. It is not my forte, but I'm going to utilize it as a framework today because it is a good way for us to kind of think about things that should be neutral that sometimes don't turn out to be neutral. I am a very proud graduate of Georgia State University. The reason that I'm a graduate of Georgia State and not Georgia Tech is because Georgia Tech was going to require, when I transferred, completion of a calculus course, and Georgia State did not. So go Panthers. I am a very proud Georgia Panther. It is important in my work, though, that I be cognizant of cultural specificity and things that are just, unique to all of my clients, and not approach them in a way that is transaction-based or transaction-focused, because there are a lot of components that go into making up a transaction. And so part of my customer focus and my background, which I'll talk about in just a bit, have led me to be really passionate about real estate education, particularly from a consumer perspective. I like people to be very well informed about what it is they are getting involved in. And so prior to working in real estate, I worked in healthcare project management. So me following Dr. Graham works out really well. And I found that some of the skills that I acquired in working with healthcare project management, including knowledge transfer, which was a very big part. I focused on managing training projects as electronic medical records were implemented. That knowledge transfer was very important because it's something that I continue to do, sharing, detailed knowledge about real estate with people who may not have nearly as much experience in real estate. So the planning and then dealing with people where they are, as they are, in a very supportive and helpful way. That is something that I continue to do. And it's one of the things that I think is incumbent upon us as we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have to deal with people where they are, not where we wish them to be, not even where they wish to be sometimes, but working with the circumstances that we have to move them to the position where they want to be. And we can do that as leaders by working so that we have equity of opportunity, and then helping people rise to the occasion to take advantage of those opportunities. And so my job really is helping people transition at critical junctures. I did that, of course, in healthcare project management, and now I'm doing that in negotiating real estate transactions. Next slide. So as I said, math problems are going to serve as kind of our framework because they should be neutral, right? So 2 + 2 is 4, whether you're in Atlanta or Mississippi or Paris, 2 + 2 should always equal 4. What we find, though, is that sometimes the context around solving those problems impacts how we get to that conclusion. So if you're in a classroom with 40 other students and there's a leak in the roof, you haven't had breakfast, that's going to impact how quickly you might be able to solve a math problem, right? So the answer is going to be the same, but the context impacts how you get to the conclusion that we are all going to arrive at. So some math problems or circumstances that can impact you from a real estate perspective. Student loans are a lot bigger part of marginalized communities' portfolio of debt than some other communities, because we tend to take on debt so that we can increase our level of education and then hopefully, of course, increase the income that we are earning. That is the goal with becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, right? But it's expensive. And so as we take on more debt, that can impact us negatively when it is time for us to acquire a different kind of debt, like a mortgage. So in recent good news, and this is something that even today, our new Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia Fudge, was talking about, a rule change happened a few weeks ago such that student loans will be less of a hindrance because the 1% rule that had been in place is no longer going to be utilized when calculating people's eligibility for a mortgage. So just to, kind of give you a quick overview, let's say you have accumulated $200,000 worth of student loan debt. This 1% rule meant that as you were applying for your mortgage, 1% of that $200,000, or in this case, $2,000, would be counted as debt. So that when you are applying for a mortgage, asking for another debt, a mortgage, your lender looks at that and says, wow, you already have $2,000 worth of debt. Will you be able to then support another $2,000 of a mortgage? That was true even if you weren't spending $2,000 a month on your student loan debt. So let's say you had loans in deferment, or you had, negotiated so you're only paying $600 a month for your student loan. Even though you're only paying $600 a month, the 1% meant that 1% or $2,000 was being counted against you. And so that definitely, you can see, has a disparate and negative impact on people who take out more student loans for higher education. That tends to be more marginalized people. So again, should be a very straightforward situation, right? Student loan, 1%. But if you take out more loans, then that 1% is a bigger percentage. So that was one disparate impact of student loans. But thankfully, this new change in calculation should help people who have taken out more student loans, because there is more equity in how we are calculating debt.